You guys really seem to love these videos where we show you guys how to find apparel manufacturers, as well as showcasing exactly how to be able to create these designs so that the manufacturers can get this printed for you. So for those of you all who want to start a brand or really want to stand out, this is really the way to go. But if you're new here and you're a beginner, it can be pretty intimidating and it can be difficult your first time. So here's a full breakdown on working with an apparel manufacturer for beginners and a full walkthrough of not only you working with them, but also getting the designs printed as well and you setting up the design files for them. You probably already attempted to start working with an apparel manufacturer and you probably got really overwhelmed because you needed things like a tech pack, which can be really intimidating, but this just goes to show how creative you can really be because you can specify each and every single element when it comes to that garment. But your first time does not have to be that difficult. The more important thing is getting across the finish line once, so the next few times you can get better and better at communicating with your manufacturer. So there's two different routes when it comes to working with an apparel manufacturer for the most part. Right now what's popular is working with someone who's in India or Pakistan, or working with a company that's in China. I will say when working with a company in China, the MOQs, which is the minimum order quantity, is typically a lot higher. However, it is typically a lot more affordable per piece. And I've also noticed that they're a lot more consistent with their actual garment designs, the garment prints, the garment cuts, and all of those things. Now when it comes to working with a company like in Pakistan, they have a lot lower minimum order quantity. Like you can order 24, 36, and that's fairly low, but the prices are going to be okay. The real big problem though is that a lot of times they're not as truly consistent. There will be times that you really find one that's really a gold mine and they're really good and they're super consistent. But for the most part, if you're just starting off, it's really easy to find someone and they give you a good sample and all of a sudden the rest of the products aren't exactly the best. When it comes to Pakistan, they're just kind of really out here in the streets, man. They're ready to make some money, and I would say their reputation isn't exactly 100% because as soon as you send the money over and if you get the garments back, a lot of them companies don't try to make it right. I'm not saying they're all like that, but there will be a few here and there that you can find that are really good in Pakistan, and you know, it's gonna make your time worthwhile. But really it's all about building that long-term relationship with them. Now when it comes to China, in my experience, even if we had like a rough cut, rough run on a larger amount of orders, you know, they still try to make things right because you know, they actually have full-on factories. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it's storming outside, so let's go ahead and hop into it. One of the popular ways to find a manufacturer is going to be Alibaba.com. You could just pretty much start off with whatever you have in mind. That's where I would start. So for example, if you want to do a tracksuit, I would type in tracksuit, and then I would also add on additional words that describe which items you're looking for, even if you don't know exactly what it's called just yet. For example, like a Chanel patch for like a Letterman jacket, when I didn't know what it was called years ago, I would type in like furry leather or something, because eventually you'll get to what you're looking for and then you'll start getting that vocabulary in your head, and then you start become better and better at knowing all the names for all of these types of products and decoration methods and so on. So here I am on tracksuit. As you can see, there's multiple different styles that's gonna pop up. Pretty much you just click on the one that you really like and then the one that you want to change. So for example, this one right here, what you can do is message the supplier and ask them if they actually have a tech pack for it already, or ask them for the dimensions, the one that's being shown. I will say a lot of times these photos aren't actually theirs. There will be occasionally where it is theirs. You can also send them a video message. You can hop on a FaceTime with them, ask them to show you what products they have in their showroom. You can do a lot of those things, because the reason why I know is because this is the homie Hollywood Shaq and they love using his photos, and I know he doesn't use every single supplier on here. Like there's multiple suppliers using his photos, which is crazy. So anyways, you'll find something that you like, and this is the really simple and easy way to be able to get the designs done without all the additional tech pack knowledge. So what you can do is ask them to show you photos of ones that they already have, ask for a size chart and so on. You know, there's no such thing as a dumb question. They're going to want to work with you, and then you're going to ask for the minimum order quantity, you're going to ask for the pricing, and then eventually over time you also know how to negotiate that. I will say, to be able to negotiate the best prices, you have to have the knowledge of being able to know how much the price of how much a square foot of cotton is going for right now, or the price of a particular decoration method and so on. So it can be difficult the first few times. However, like I said, go across and get across the finish line first. Always order yourself a sample. A sample is always going to be way higher than you doing the minimum order quantity. So for example, if you order 200 of these hoodies, it could possibly be like $25 each, but if you order one sample, it's probably going to be like $150. Now that sounds crazy, but you got to think about all the setup they have to do just for one piece, and then when it arrives to you, if there's something wrong, you can tell them to fix it before they do the full-on run. So there's been many times where if we've done a full set without the sample, and then the full set is horrible because of one little mistake that they made that we didn't want to occur. Now here's the really easy way to be able to get the design done. So pretty much you just copy this image, you can head on over to Illustrator, Canva, whatever you typically like to use, and then create the images in there. So of course I would highly recommend using Adobe Adobe Illustrator or any vector-based program, then you're gonna have scalable vector graphics where you can resize the designs to any size that you like without any quality loss. So I'm gonna paste that image right here. So this is a raster image. You can't scale this image up and down and maintain the same quality. So here's a real simple hack as well. So you can go to your favorite clothing brand shop right now that's really mainstream. They typically have their size charts available, and then you purchase their product and then you bring it home, you try it on, and then you see how it fits and you see if that's something that you like. Then you send over their size chart, and now you have that hoodie on hand. You can measure how big this actual design is on the hoodie that you like, that you have in hand. So you take out your actual measuring tape, your ruler, and measure how big you want this design to be right here. So I would create whatever letter or design, whatever it may be, right there. So let's say I wanted the letter R. I would go ahead and change this size, and I would point it to that area right there. And I would say I want this 16 inches tall, right? So you're pretty much creating a tech pack, but it's the really cheap and beginner version way of doing it. So I open up Kittle just because it's kind of easy, really beginner friendly program to use as well. Obviously I want you guys to like get more accommodated to using something more advanced, but if you're a beginner, like I said, just get across the finish line once. All right, so I open this up because they pretty much have like designs ready for you to use. All right, so now I have these two files right here. So what I would do is pretty much change this canvas as well. So it's something a little bit more vertical. You can change it to something like 20 inches wide and 28 inches tall. So I'm gonna click on it, and now it's in a similar proportion as the actual end design. So now all I'm gonna focus on is this like S right here, right? So what I'm gonna do is take this, and let's say I want my own letter S. Of course, you're gonna be able to do whatever design you want to do, right? So I'll take that, I'll put it right there, and then let's say I want the flames for the sleeves. I will also just go ahead and take that, and I'll put that right there as well. But you need to measure it. That's the biggest thing right there. So you can either type it in as a note whenever you save this image as a vector and send it to your manufacturer, and then they're gonna mock it up for you, or you can go ahead and write the notes on here. You can take little arrows on here and point to exactly where you want it to be. So for example, you're gonna have to make this file size larger so that this image is still on the same thing. That's not a good looking arrow at all. So now we delete that one right there, add this arrow, and I'm just gonna make it some kind of off color so they know this is not a part of it. Also, I'm gonna go ahead and rescale this so that the additional image also fits. So I would do something like that, and if this is vector file, then they can change this and then they can resize it themselves. But you need to be specific about the actual sizes that you want. So I would take this right here, and then I would also put this arrow pointing at the sleeves and say you want that on both sides. So now you're just gonna write out your tech pack instead of creating a full image of what your tech pack is. But see, now this is your first time ever doing this. Now you already have an idea of how a tech pack works, right? Because you're pretty much describing each and every single thing. But when it comes to a tech pack, you just pretty much have those specifics written down, and it looks more like an Excel sheet. Like for example, so number one, you're pretty much writing down what occurs with number one. What kind of collar do you want it to be? But this right here is really intimidating for your first time. I would say the way I've done it whenever I first started was pretty much doing it this way, and then that gave me confidence when I received my first sample piece. I was like, damn, I can do this. So as you can see, this is a Letterman jacket that I created right here, and I got it manufactured, and it all started because I just needed to get across the finish line once, and it wasn't as difficult as it may seem. I'm telling you, just get across the finish line once and you'll be able to perfect it along the way. Don't try to be a perfectionist on your first piece, and I can guarantee you that's all you need to flourish in the future. If this video helped you out, I really need you to comment, I really need you to hit that like, and I really need you to hit the subscribe, because that's the only way I'm able to know if I should post more videos like this. See you on the next one.